All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is another exciting edition of How Do I Do This Anyways? Today's topic, we're going to be working on ISO number 4. This little block is a little bit unique because on the last one, we were introducing how to make a sketch and actually sketch not on the physical object. Today, what we're going to be looking at is creating a work plane or a mid plane in order to create our sketch to make our extrusion to complete the object. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I've already got my measurements written on a piece of paper. Hopefully you do too, but here we go. We're going to start out. We're going to say File, New, and we want our standard EPT in English units again. Yay. All right, so starting a new sketch, I want to go ahead and just play on that one. And I want to rotate it again because I like to work on it horizontally. Let's see here. We're going to start with a basic rectangle. And we're just going to make our basic primitive shape again. And that's going to be 5 inches by 8 inches. All right. Yeah. Undo that. 8 inches by 5 inches. Makes much more sense. Extrude it, click it, and now we're going to extrude a distance of 5 inches here. All right, so that's our primitive shape right now, okay? Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and cut out for this little L shape here. According to my measurements, that's a 3 by 3 square. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and just start a sketch over on this side. And I'm going to use my rectangle tool in order to make this little sketch. I'm going to click up here. When it turns green, it's concentric. Drag out a little bit, but then I'm going to type in 3, and then I'm going to hit Tab to switch to the next box and say 3, and then hit Enter. And now I got that 3 by 3 block. I'm going to extrude that by hitting E, and I'm going to put that as a cut operation, but I want that cut to be through all. Okay. All right, so now I got that looking thing up here. So that's a lot of the block. We've got a couple of little details. I'm going to go ahead and do this side piece first. Okay, so just looking at this thing, this is 6 across here. The whole thing is 8. So that means that this little triangle is going to come over 2 in order to make it. So let's go ahead and make a sketch and do that. Sketch could be either on this plane and get that feature or this plane and get that feature. I'm going to go with that one. And so I'm just going to go ahead and first I'm going to project my geometry like I was before because I want to include that surface and that part of the surface. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab my line tool. And since this occurred at that point, at that corner, I'm going to click right there where it's a green line or a green little dot. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click right there. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit Escape to drop my line tool. And I'm going to go ahead and use my dimensioning tool to go from here to right there. And I'm going to type in the dimension, what was that? 2, 2, 2. Now, I've got that going on. Now I should be able to finish that sketch, hit Extrude, and then do my standard cut operation on that. And I want to do through all again because I just want that to go away all the way through. All right, cool. So got most of the block. Now it's where it gets to be the interesting part because I need this little triangle to be put there. And this triangle is centered on the center of it. So it's 2 inches wide, and then it goes through the entire height. Groovy. So what we need to do is we need to create a plane to work on in this little geometry here. So if I click my origin, you see how we have that plane, that XZ plane, or that YZ plane, and then the XY plane? What I want to do is I want to create a plane that's parallel to that YZ plane along the midplane. there's a couple of ways to do that, but since we want this to be in the mid plane, I'm going to come over here to this work plane features, and I'm going to select mid plane between two planes. And then I'm going to tell it what planes I want it to be in between. First one is that one. Then I'm going to orbit the thing by holding Shift and the center mouse. And I'm going to select that one. And it's giving me kind of a preview of that plane in the middle. And that's what I want. Okay. Now, what I can do here is I can actually make a sketch on that work plane, just the same as I could one of my XY planes from the origin. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start a 2D sketch. And I'm going to be careful to select that work plane, because if you're not being careful, you're going to select the side of it. You're going to do this edge. You want to make sure that that work plane lights up, and that's where your sketch is going to go. Now, you have to understand that regardless of how it appears, we've got an orthographic view for it. So right now, when I click this line, that spot right there, I put a green coincidence constraint there and stretch it on over to that spot. I click there. Now I'm going to drop my tool. That looks like it's on this outer edge that's out here. It looks like we created a line from here to that corner, but our midplane is back here. So when I go and I turn this thing a little bit, if I just click the home, you can see that that line is right across there where we want that geometry to go. Now, all I need to do is project this plane, and then that plane. Come on. And now I have a triangle, a closed shape that I can easily extrude. So I'm going to go ahead, finish the sketch, click extrude. And this time, instead of doing a standard one direction, I'm going to do a symmetric extrusion. And I want the distances to be a total of 2 inches. So you see how it's 2 inches from one side to the X to the next? If I wanted it to be different, an asymmetric extrusion, I could have clicked that, and then it would give me the option to have 2 different distances. I just want the one distance. I want this to be symmetrical. Now I'm going to click OK, because that's what I want. Now, let's clean this up a little bit. I can come over here. I can right-click on that work plane, and I can turn the visibility off on it. And so now I've got my whole item completed, ready to rock and roll. And I think that this looks a whole lot like that. So now, favorite time of the project, go ahead and save it. It's going to be ISO 4, and put your initials. And it will automatically put that IPT. And since I've already been working in my 20 ISOs folder, it automatically populates there. If it is not automatically populating there, check that, navigate to it, find it, put it there. Come on. All right, so the name popped up there. We could navigate through here to find it. There it is. All right, so hopefully this helped you out. And if you have any questions, let me know. Take care.